I'm Jude Becker and welcome to my farm. This is Becker Lane Organic Farm, aptly named because of the road we live on. It's called Becker Lane, and my family's been here for a long time. I'm the 6th generation on this farm, and we've been raising pigs here that long. And in the last, let's say 10 years since I got out of college, I've been working at this farm to make it officially certified organic, although we've been kind of raising pigs traditionally for much longer than that. Organic pig farming simply means the pigs live outdoors for most of their life. They are fed a diet of organic grain that we produce here at the farm, and we think those practices make the pork pretty special. And we've been working on finding pathways and relationships with people in restaurants and other parts of the food world who also value those philosophies. And so today we're going to look around a little bit at the farm and see some pigs and see some farming, and I'll explain what makes this system of pork production so special. So we've just arrived at this site on the east part of the farm that I call the farrowing pasture or farrowing field, and that simply means a big place where the sows or the mother pigs can give birth to piglets. And we've set out a whole lot of these houses or farrowing huts that are constructed from steel and have insulation, and they simply provide a kind of shelter and environment for the mother pig, the sow, to give birth and raise her piglets. Some of the important details here are that every sow is treated as an individual, and so we have this electric fence that basically skirts the whole field. So we have this electric fence here and there, so that house is divided from that house, and every sow is treated as an individual. And we found that there's a lot of small details that you need to consider when you're designing a thing like this. And 10 years ago when I began doing this, the sort of convention for Iowa farmers was to have a batch of sows give birth to piglets in the spring and another batch give birth in the fall, and you could avoid the extreme weather we have in the Midwest, so you could avoid the summer heat and you could avoid the winter cold. But the challenge with that for what I do is it really offers no consistent flow of animals for the market. And so we had to find some ways to, number one, be able to produce pigs outdoors in the organic and traditional ways and do it year-round, so I could have fresh pork every week for a restaurant or anyone who wanted to eat pork. And part of the answer for that question was these farrowing houses that are actually kind of a souped up version of the traditional plywood ones. And these are actually made in Europe, and they have been producing organic pork there probably for 15 years, longer than we have in the US, with this sort of modern marketing mentality in mind. So I imported all these houses and set them up here, and they're pretty cool because they have insulation, and during winter time you can put a lot of straw in one of these houses, and the sow can go inside, lay down, give birth to her young, and be completely warm, and there's no fossil fuel derived energy inputs required, just a good stock person who cares about the animals, and it's actually quite simple. Let's walk up a little bit more and we can pigs in this house are very young, probably less than 7 days old, and you can see they're sort of hanging out with their mother, and we keep straw in there for so they can stay dry and comfortable, and also it's something for them to play with. And very soon they'll be big enough, as you could see, to just start wandering outside and wandering around here. And right now the sow looks like she's just laying down to start nursing those piglets, which could be a cool thing to watch. After 7 weeks of lactation with their piglets, the piglets are weaned away and taken somewhere else, and the sows come here. And very soon they'll come in heat, and we can take one of our boars, our male pigs, and rebreed them. So hopefully in another 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days, which is the gestation period of a sow, they can give birth to another litter of piglets. But this room allows us to kind of control where they are during that breeding period and deal with them very much more specifically in a controlled environment. And they can walk outside and eat food in here. And today there's kind of a cool breeze flowing through here because the building is oriented from north to south, and so it creates a good climate for the pigs to live in. In wintertime we can shut these doors and put a lot more straw, and it stays warm enough. So again, it's a very simple system, not requiring a lot of high-tech inputs or fossil fuel derived energy. So this is the stable or the barn where the pigs come at the very end of their life prior to being butchered. And we call it a hoop barn just because of these metal hoops that make up the roof of the structure. And it's really simply, again, an open-air building with straw and a place to lay down and sleep at the back, and an eating and sort of social place to get water at the front. And people often ask me, why is Becker Lane pork so much better tasting? And I think one reason is just simply because the animals grow up and form their muscles and carcass structure in open, fresh air like this. They are inside here, I guess, a building, you could call this technically. They begin their life on pasture, as you can see. And so the whole time span, they're able to breathe fresh air and be relatively clean. If you would compare this farm to, let's say, an indoor farm, a confinement industrial facility, you'll notice that farms like that have the pigs living on a kind of metal or concrete grate, and their excrement passes through, and so they're literally living like in the fumes and odor of their own excrement. And I think over time it's really negative and derogatory to the quality of the pork, and part of the reason why a lot of industrial pork is sort of scorned and viewed as, you know, less than ideal protein. Pigs don't have to grow up living in their own stink, I say. It's a small, simple thing, but it's a big difference. So those pigs just get food out of that tank, and we fill up that container with food once a week maybe, and it just keeps flowing down so they can come up here and eat whenever they want, go to the back and lay in straw. They're very curious, and they seem to like to eat anything new that comes into their environment, including people's boots. So beware.